Hi guys, this is Erin Harden. This is my lesson plan presentation for ITEC 7430. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. So my idea was to try to make our 5th grade standard for science on plant and animal cells more interesting for our students. So the idea that I came up with was that students would explore parts of each type of cell and how they function through a flipped classroom environment. They would then complete an infographic that details the parts of each cell and their function and what their similarities and differences are. So the way that they would do that is they would kind of do it a hybrid flipped classroom. So students would first start by using Edpuzzle as their first activity, and they would be able to view the Edpuzzle activity through our online classroom platform called Canvas. So I'm just going to pull that up really quick so you can see what that looks like. So this is what our Canvas page looks like. This would be our hybrid page for cells. Just a couple of videos, our study guides, and the Edpuzzle would be here along with the quizzes, which is the retesting at the end of the page. So this would be where they would find the activity. Once they get to that activity, they would pull up the Edpuzzle activity. And basically what Edpuzzle is Edpuzzle is a way for you to put questions on top of videos that you have made yourself or videos that you found on YouTube, just to make sure that the student or students that are watching the videos are paying attention and making sure they're understanding the material that's being presented. So all these little what looks like rain dots down here are questions that have been plugged into this video. And this particular video is over the parts of plants and animal cells and the differences between the two. So once they've completed that, they would come back to class, and once they come back to class, they would basically test their knowledge by creating cookies to represent the different types of plant and animal cells using different types of candy. And while they're doing that, they would actually be using or participating at the same time with the first component of one of my internet tools, which is Quiver. Because we don't have access to VR tools in my school as readily as some of the other school districts, that's why I'm giving them this activity to do along with the VR activity so that they could float between the two. So this particular activity that I'm going to discuss first is called Quiver. Quiver looks like this. It's just a normal coloring page with the parts of the cell at the top. And basically what happens is the student would be able to color the page. And once they've colored this page, they would be able to use VR technology in order to design and see what an animal cell looks like in 3D. Now, normally I would be able to pull this up on my phone and be able to show you, but because I'm not able to do that, I'm going to go ahead and play this video so you can see what it looks like. So once the student has colored the page, what they're going to do is they're going to pull out their VR app of Quiver, and once they do that, they're going to be able to pull up the augmented reality of the app and be able to see the different parts in 3D. The different question marks are the different names and parts of the cell that they can label on there as well as being able to quiz themselves on the different pieces of the components. Some of the things that I found that were challenges with using Quiver is that we have limited VR devices, so it's a one-on-one thing, so it takes a really long time for students to get through the process, and so that could make it really time consuming to use this particular type of technology, especially with the amount of VR devices we have in the building. We have about 10, so imagine having to do that between 28 students. That makes it kind of challenging. Also, if one of the things that I think most people don't realize is that if you don't actually color the pictures do not come out clear, and so students are not able to properly identify the different parts. Some of the opportunities that I found was that it actually brings the cells to life. It gives a chance for the students to be able to label parts in a unique way instead of just having to color a picture. They're able to actually bring the cells to life. And then it also gives you that quiz feature to make sure that the labeling of parts is actually interactive and engaging for the higher learners and for those people that need that piece in order to be interactive. The second component that we're going to talk about after Quiver Vision is Canva. So once they've done this particular activity, Canva is where they're going to live for most of the 2-week lesson plan. Canva is where they're going to create their infographic, and the purpose of this Canva application is for them to use a digital resource found on Google that will allow them to take a cell and turn it into an infographic. So this is an example of what the infographic would look like. Now clearly a fifth grader would probably not be able to make one that looks this detailed or this professional, but the idea behind it is for them to make an infographic about cells. So what they would do is they go over here to Canva. Canva is an online website that allows students to create and design and implement professional templates using this website. It's free to use and it's a great resource that allows them to give professional looks to otherwise dull information. So they would find the template for infographic, they pick their favorite and then start adding their information. Some of the challenges that I've found with using with using Canva in the past is that a lot of the stuff that's on here is not free. So if you're not careful when you're going through this particular project, you have to make sure that you're clicking on the resources that say free here. If they do not say free, then that means the student will have to pay for it before they're able to print and or publish their work, which causes the teacher to have to pay for it. So just be careful when using that. If you've not used Canva in the past, it's very difficult to navigate for first time use. And one of the major problems that happens with this, because each student has to have their own individual username and password, a lot of times they are losing their information, and once they lose that username and password, they have to start all over. So those are some of the challenges that I have found with using Canva. Some of the opportunities is that it gives them a professional look, so they're able to give a professional look to otherwise dull presentation. They're able to give pride in their work because, again, it gives them that professional look that they would not otherwise have. And then it also gives them an introduction into graphic media and web design and be able to show them how the design process works for those students that may want to be interested in that in the future for a career. Finally, the last thing that the students would be able to be exposed to, or the two last things that they would be able to be exposed to, is Adobe Spark. Now on this Adobe Spark end, that would be something that I would be using. The students themselves would not be using. I would be using this particular activity. But Adobe Spark, what I would do is I would make a video for them to be able to view, in process for their testing. So let me go ahead and pull that up for you guys so you can see what it looks like. But basically it's just an overview of the information that we have covered with cells and all of the information that they need to know for the test. So it looks like this. Adobe Spark is a great resource because it allows you, again, to give you that professional look. I really enjoy Adobe Spark because it is actually connected to your Google Drive, and it gives that professional look, as I stated before. And then it makes the videos really quick and easy to make. Some of the challenges that I've found with Adobe Spark is that it gives you a limited time frame to make videos. I've tried to make our fifth grade end of the year project with this Adobe Spark, and it has proved to be quite challenging because they don't like the videos to be longer than 5 minutes. There is a sound wave limit as well, so it likes to play the same sound wave over and over and over again. So if you try to put a track of a video or a sound on it, it doesn't like it, and it crashes a lot. So just so you can see this video that I have created for it, this is what it looks like. Just going to give you a few seconds of it. So this is the preview, just so you can see. I would send this link out to parents, and I would also put it on that web page that I showed you before, just so you can see how the students would be able to use that. And then finally, the last resource that my students would be able to actually physically use would be quizzes. Quizzes is something I'm extremely familiar with. I've been using it for years and years and years. It is something that I really enjoy. Basically, it is a assessment tool that you're able to use with students in order to help them assess their learning when it comes to any subject or any topic in general. This particular test would be the one that they would take for parts of cells, so you could see what it looks like. I'm going to push the practice button just so you can see. But basically, it turns testing into a game. Now you do have the option to have flashcards, you have the option to challenge your friends, but some of the functions that I found interesting is that you have the read aloud, you can turn off the timer, you can turn off the means, you can turn off the power up. So if you really want this to be a full, honest, truthful formal assessment, you can make it that. But basically it looks like this. When you go through the assessment, it has the timer. It'll go through. If you get the question correct, it'll give you a correct answer. If you get it wrong, then it'll give you a funny meme. But back and forth. Some of the things that I think are very interesting with quizzes is that I find that it's very challenging because you actually have public access. So basically what that means is that anybody can use the combination of numbers to be able to get to your quizzes. So you have to be very careful because sometimes people will put up inappropriate names. So you have to really monitor your quizzes access codes. The game functions and opportunities is a great idea, but it also becomes very distracting if you are trying to use it as an assessment. And it's very hard to use if you don't have access to the internet. I wish that quizzes had a function where you could actually print the test itself, but it does not at this point have that as an option. Some of the opportunities that I've found with quizzes is that it's great engagement. I use it a lot for practice and testing modes. It's got that great game function, so they're able to go back through and practice and have fun with their peers. And I really enjoy the ease of creating a quiz because it is very, very easy and user friendly. So if I go over here to the teacher dashboard and I want to edit something, I can do so and very easily. So if I wanted to go in and maybe edit one of my quizzes, I could go in and show you how that is as easy as pie. So I go in here, and if I want to edit, I can do that. And it's very, very easy. You can move questions around, you can delete them, you can edit them, you can duplicate them, you can even do a teleport button, which I think is the best thing ever, which means you can steal them from other people's quizzes and use them on your own without having to copy and paste them, which is the best function ever. So overall, I feel like that these 4 resources are the best resources that I have found when it comes to this digital learning project. The first thing that I want to make sure I tell you guys before I close is the original idea came from this lesson plan, which was a flipped lesson on plant and animal cells. I adapted it to what we needed it to be, but this was where the original plan came from, and I have that link in my lesson plan if you're interested. I hope you guys are interested, and let me know some feedback. Thanks. Have a great day.